Get the comments here.
I think we are live. So let me I'm gonna pull this up on my phone too, see if I can
yeah, let me hit the groups and let them know we're live.
Check it, jig. Gotta get that link to watch. It says I'm live. There we are.
We're good.
We are live.
It's spreading out the word a little bit. Reminding
Very cool.
Live.
Very cool. Hey, if you're just joining us on the live, if you'd like to put down in the comments, regardless of what you're on, I'll pull you up on the screen. It'll be cool. You can tell us where you're at, who you are, where you're at. I'll get to who you are there.
What's going on, Simon? What's going on? Good to see you on. We're just
excellent. Make sure you guys share this too, if you don't mind. Share it out on your Facebooks, YouTubes. Text it to your friends, whoever you got looking at this thing. Is this live? Yes, this is, Debbie. This is live.
We are good. What's going on, Debbie? How are you?
Okay, or am I watching a recording? You are not watching a recording.
No, we're definitely live. We're just I'm just putting up the reminders to everyone that we are live and ready to roll here.
What's up, Tony? Tees Flooring, good to go.
Yeah, looking live.
My man.
Stuff. Good. Mark, EJ, nice. Debbie, CJ. Catherine, how are you?
Excellent. All right, who else?
Live from Idaho. Here? All right, sorry to hear that. That's good.
Excellent. Also, let us know where you're where you're watching from. That'd be cool. Tampa Bay, Michelle, thank you. It's kind of cool to see that. Bill Dahl.
Lots of familiar faces down here. Love it.
Excellent. Generational wealth
family
from
Dallas. Oh, very nice.
Aquarius. Oh, hey, what's up, Aquarius? Excellent. What's up, Cedric Harris? Cedric Harris has in his.
That's good.
The ink hasn't even dried on his application. He just got in like yesterday.
What's up, Cedric?
Tony Sharps. What's up? Awesome, Chad. Welcome.
Mary Jo, Alan,
Patty. Who else I got? Alan from Chicago. Got Maryland
Lauderdale, Greg. I like it. Hey, you're in a good spot.
Mary Jo from Texas. St. Augustine, Biz Mama. One of my favorite places, St. Augustine.
Well, St. Augustine's nice. I haven't been there in a while. Yeah, I got to get back out there.
Troop, Texas. I don't think I ever heard of Troop, Texas.
No, me neither, man.
That's cool.
It's amazing. We got people from all over the place here. It's great.
San Bernardino, California. Cedric's from Jersey. Greg Adair, what's up? Lauderdale. Excellent. Man up or shut up in Ohio. Sounds good.
I like it.
One of my hometown boys. LA in the house. Raymond. Alan Smith from Chicago. We got Canada in the house. Who's we got? Sacramento, South Carolina.
It's legal to be allowed on here in Canada. Well, look at that. It's good.
Nice. Amy's from Florida.
I got it. Nice. Yeah.
Love that countdown video. Thank you, Joe.
Yeah, I like it too. Did a good job with that, Mike. I like that. I still like it.
Thank you. Hey, from West Cleveland. Awesome. Another Ohioan. Beautiful. I think I got Tony on there, didn't I? West Cleveland. There you go. Ron in Jacksonville.
Hey, those on the west coast of Florida. I mean, that's kind of Ohio, right? It's the largest city in Ohio is over here.
It's pretty much, right? Everybody's snowbirding it down there. I'm one of those guys.
Yeah.
I absolutely. Stacy can't stand cold weather.
Oh, dude, come on down, man. I'm telling you.
She hates it. If you want to say hi one more time, and we got about 30 seconds before we go live. Excellent.
Nice, Keith. Yeah, we're only about 10 weeks away from perfect weather season, Mike.
Nice.
That's what I reckon about that.
St. Louis, back in there. We got somebody from Indy. Excellent. Very cool. Appreciate everybody jumping on here. Kind of not a whole lot of notice we gave you as usual. And there's Paul. All right, Paul and Debbie.
What's going on, Paul?
Awesome, guys. All right. Well, Terry Tillard, I think we are locked and loaded. I'm going to go ahead and remove that. We are going to blow up the screen. I'm going to take my glasses off so I can see you. And let me take that off the screen. Excellent, excellent. Welcome, everybody, to the Texit Talk. Terry and I have done these occasionally. Fantastic. Appreciate you guys being on here. Love to give some great education. One of the cool parts, if you're new to this, which I know there's a lot of new people on here, Terry and I have been in the crypto space quite some time. I've been in about 4 years. I'm still like elementary school education, but I'm getting there. I'm at least in 3rd grade or 4th grade, not quite the junior high. Terry's next level college degree kind of crypto dude. So I think Terry was in crypto before they invented crypto, which is kind of cool. So typically how we do these is we go back and forth. We have a little banter, and we kind of just try to share our things with you. I labeled this one, is Texit potentially your answer for financial freedom? That's kind of the title. Hopefully it was a catchy enough title to get your attention, to jump in here and listen up. We like to kind of share some stuff and dissect things that are in this space, not just crypto, but specifically we're talking Texit today, and it's incredible. Terry, say hi to everybody, and then I got the PowerPoint I'm gonna pull up real quick.
Yeah, well, great to be on here as usual, Mike. We've been doing this kind of podcasty, educational, community education kind of format for years together, and it's always great. We've always had great feedback. I enjoy doing it with you. I enjoy dropping some wisdom, sharing some perspective, getting people to see things in a different context, and I think hopefully we'll get that done today too. So
somebody just asked how long you've been involved in crypto.
Well, when Mike says before crypto, I think part of the answer to that question is that I've been talking about honest money and trying to break the idea of the Federal Reserve and community currencies, actually literally before Bitcoin. I had gotten an award for doing this stuff from a crowd I didn't even know was following me before Bitcoin even was invented. So it's a bit of a long story there. But this idea of having alternative currency systems is something I've been passionate about for a long time. So
perfect. All right, so I'm gonna jump right in this. I got a I threw something together, just kind of thinking about what we were going to talk about today. Obviously, we're focused on Texit Coin, and I think a lot of people are taking a look at this thing because we're tired of looking at this thing. That is a graph of the fiat dirty money system that exists that is about as good as using it for paper to finish what you were doing in a restroom. I mean, it's terrible. Okay. We're looking for, and most everybody now is waking up to the fact that digital currencies are where it's at. And why not look into something that's got a massive growth record? In fact, if you look at what Texit Coin has done in 12 months, if you go to CoinMarketCap, it's pushed over 2,300% growth. Go back to this slide. Which graph, which side of the graph do you want to go on in a nutshell? Okay. So
what do you want your money, right?
Yeah, right. This is what we're going to talk about. Now, just so you guys know, quick housekeeping. A lot of these recordings that we do, a lot of times if I get stuff from Bobby, I do have a podcast out there. You can check. It's called Texit Talk. You can look it up on Spotify. You can look it up on Spreaker. You can look it up on Amazon Music. You can look it up on iTunes, just so you're aware of that. Okay. Now, Terry, let's just start jumping right into this. What got you excited? Because you're the person that introduced me to Texit. What got you excited first and foremost about Texit and where this was going? And this is a graph people can go to at any given time. They can go to minetxc.com, and this is up for anybody. This is publicly out there. You don't just have to be a miner to look at this. Explain some of the things on here and why we're in the right place at the right time. And we're going to go into the whole crowdfunding part in a second. But what is it about this project that got you so excited? And obviously, after I heard what you said, this is why I jumped on board. So go ahead.
Yeah, number one is that it's a community-driven project, right? Like if you look at Bitcoin, literally statistically, just by the public numbers that we know about, like the BlackRock and the banks and the billionaire class and the people who've been the enemy of the people have already taken it over completely. They own almost the entire supply, and they can manipulate it at will. It's only a couple of corporations that do all the mining. Then you look at most of the other crypto projects, almost every single one of them in the top 100. There are a few exceptions, are all VC backed. You know, we call VC vulture capitalists, you know, and these vultures, they're usually a part of the establishment, right? So they'll fund you to try and get an idea off the ground. Maybe they make some money, you make some money, But the moment you start stepping on too many toes or doing something that might be too good for the people, the VCs step in and say no, and they put a stop to it, right? Because it's really not a community-driven, community-funded project. And that's a problem, and crypto desperately needs more of them. I think back to the Bitcoin white paper, digital peer-to-peer cash, and we are so gone from that. There are a few other players, and I am a fan of them as well, that are vying in the space and making their mark. And I don't care if there's, just the same way we have Swiss francs and Canadian dollars and US dollars. I don't care if there's a few handful players, but we need community-driven, private sector, for the people projects to win in crypto. And so when I see one that's doing that, I get excited and I start paying attention. And so, we can debate about the proof of work and proof of stake and all that stuff. But my biggest question anyway in the beginning was, are they building the mine? I don't want a someday project. I've been into too many of those. I'm an investor in a whole bunch of projects where, you got tech delays just become brutal. They just like road rash, just like being dragged on the back of a car without a jacket on, by a chain. And that's not fun anymore. I'm tired of that. I don't want someday. I want someone who's doing it now, today. And while Texit has a few slightly unorthodox things for crypto, when you peel back the layers of the onion, you realize it's a crowdfunding thing. It's a crowdfunding thing because it's a mine for the people, by the people, and someone's got to fund it. And to get there, you've got to fund it somehow. If you want to build a mine comparable to, let's just use Litecoin as an example, which we're a fork of, you need a lot of money, like a lot of money. And so, when I looked at Texit and I saw that they were transparent, because that matters a lot to me. We've all been hurt in projects. I don't want to talk to friends and family about things where we're getting hurt. There's always certain variables none of us can control, right? If you poke the thumbs in the eyes of powerful people, who knows what they'll do or what laws they'll break. I can't control that, but I can control looking at what is available, what the data really says, and what Bobby's really doing. And are they saying what they're doing? They're saying they're doing. We're ahead of schedule. How many projects are ahead of schedule? Mike, how many times have you seen a project ahead of schedule? Crypto or otherwise?
Not very often at all, to say the least. Hey, I want to jump on the what you were just saying about the crowdfunding, because I put some slides together that are, I think, really good. I got to put my glasses on for this one. But yeah, I love that. I actually pulled this up because I think this is something that's super important for you to understand if you're in Texit or you're looking at Texit, is that crowdfunding is not something that we invented when it comes to the crypto space. And I pulled it up on Google just this morning. I typed in crowdfunded crypto projects. And Terry, you're easily familiar with all these, but like EOS, if you look at that, it says top projects by funds raised. So basically crowdfunding is people deciding, hey, this project seems like it's going to go somewhere. Let's invest in it. Let's do what we need to do. And most of these people got some type of referral for it or got tokens in the form of rewards and so on. But if you look at what EOS did, they raised $4.1 billion through their fund. Filecoin, the one below that, raised $257 million. Tezos, I believe I'm saying that correctly, project raised $232 million. And Ethereum, and I'm going to touch on that one a little more, they raised over 18 million in Bitcoin during 2014. So if you look at what that's worth right now, and then there was the DAO and then Polkadot. Most people are familiar with Polkadot, but I want to expand on this because Ethereum is one that most people understand. And if you look at it right now, from their initial thought and how they put that together was crowdfunded, it grew and grew and grew and grew. And Ethereum currently is a number 2 on coin market cap as the crypto. And so I want you to use this as a comparison of where number 2 crypto on the planet is and where it was. And I believe the date on that is 2016. It was $12 a token. $12 a token. Okay. So looking at that, Terry, let me ask you this. What do we see? What kind of things do we see that are familiar, similar, and could potentially, not financial advice, obviously, play out in the same aspects that we have with Texit Coin so far? What do you see?
Well, I mean, that's just it, right? But even just looking at Texit Coin's performance, my first thing that I do is I say, okay, what's the next 6 months or next 12 months likely to look like? Well, the best predictor I have is the past success rate, right? I go back and I look at the track record of what they just did, and I expect that they will do something similar in the next 6 and 12 months. And if they do from where we are right now, I mean, that's incredible growth. Like, so of course I want to be a part of that. We look at the chart and it just climbs up the side of a mountain, up and to the right in a very steady, awesome trajectory. That gets me very excited, leaves me feeling warm and fuzzy. And I say, like,
You broke up, Terry. I can't hear you right now.
why wouldn't I want? Sorry, Mikey, we have a storm here, but jump in if you want to. If I jump,
No, go ahead. You're good now.
I was kicking off.
You're good now.
And I just look back at the past being the predictor of future success. But I think your Ethereum one is an excellent example. And, you know, all those projects you listed, EOS and Tezos and Tezos, they were big projects, especially a couple bull runs ago. They were a big deal at one point. Filecoin still is. Polkadot still is. And they've done some incredible things. And maybe they're not vying to be peer-to-peer cash, but they've done great things. They've got a lot of adoption. And also, a lot of those ones that are crowdfunded, though, a lot of those crowdfunding, there's still some unsavory characters that get involved in those crowdfunded things. And so I know some people don't like a few elements or see a few conflicts in their mind about how Texit's doing it, but it's designed to keep the JP Morgans and the vulture capitalists and BlackRocks out of it. And there's something to be said about that. There's value for, because we look at the track record of the past when we let just anybody come in and crowdfund, and you got the criminals at the table, right? And so now we want to get real people, regular people who can own a piece of this. And I always liken it to owning the infrastructure. And I'll talk a bit about that after you're done with the slideshow, about how I see this. And I wish everyone saw it that way, because that's the conversation I have with you.
Yeah. Right? And I got pictures I was going to pull up because it's a real mining project. Like, there's a real mine being built. I mean, you and I remember you called me and you said, hey, we got to poke some holes in this, find out where we're missing it, if this is too good to be true kind of thing. And my brother-in-law, Ray, lives down there in Waxahachie, which is not too far, about 45 minutes or so, an hour maybe, from McKinney, Texas, where they have the mining facility. And he just drove up unannounced, showed up, and they gave him a tour and showed him. And you can go online. Like, there's a lot of people that have videos now of themselves taking the tour. Like, there's a really good one that was it Catherine Ann, I believe did one. It was like 3 minutes long. It was fantastic. This is talk a little bit about this, because this is also going to go along with the lines with people's confidence in the type of mine they're building. What kind of equipment is this? Like, is this cheap stuff, you know, that Billy Bob made in his basement, or is it real legitimate? You know, we got a real L1 blockchain being developed here.
Damn, it's expensive. It's shocking how expensive this stuff is, and it is top of the line stuff, right? Not sparing the expenses, but more importantly, they're showing us the negotiations every week, the transaction hashes, the receipts of the purchase. They're showing you that a percentage of the money that always comes in, as stated, always goes towards funding more hardware. And there isn't a single week that goes by that hardware infrastructure is not purchased to build out the mine, to make it a large redundant mine that big players want to come play in the sandbox with, want to come build layer 2 projects with, and all that stuff. And so you're looking at top of the line, state of the art cooling systems, top of the line, state of the art ASIC miners. That's fantastic. But that was my big question to you. You know, you and I hummed and hawed on it. We're like, I like this and I like this, I like this. You're still hesitant. What's bugging you? I'm like, I need to know the mine's real, man. And I had heard from an acquaintance of an acquaintance of an acquaintance who had been. I'm like, we need guys that we know to go down there. And now we've had lots of friends who've gone. In fact, I would say I probably know over 100 people who've put their hands on the machine in that cooling liquid. And, you know, so I have zero doubts in my mind. I see pictures every week of new shipments, new containers, new ASICs, new big shipping boxes that are going to be offsite, decentralizing the mine. I'm seeing the home miners. I've got a home miner in the mail on the way to my place right now today. You know, it's real. Like, I have zero doubts that it's real. And that leaves me feeling warm and fuzzy. I know that we are buying into a physical asset that generates rewards.
Hey, so for people that might not fully understand this, because I'm still not fully understanding a lot of it, but the ultimate goal of building out a mine, and I heard you kind of go through it fast, is the fact that it's a blockchain that other projects will be able to use for their projects, correct? And then
Correct.
if that's the case, what happens? Like, why is that a benefit to other crypto projects? Like, what is ultimately the benefit of us building this big blockchain?
Well, I suppose it depends on who builds and what they want to build. More importantly for now is that if we were to get municipalities, for example, to do the downtown digital dollar program, they want reliability. They do not want to have their stamp on some, small little mining operation in a shed in the backyard that goes down every 3 days. They're not going to be down with that. And
Right.
so you also can't have it all in one location where one guy can come and cut the power line and the whole thing goes down. Right. So you've got to build it large enough, redundant enough, decentralized enough. Like Litecoin's a well-respected blockchain. It's much smaller than Bitcoin, but it's large enough to be respected, and it's had longevity, and it has stayed in the near the top of the crypto top 100 for a long period of time, right? So we have the ability to go and do that, and that's kind of modeling it after their size. And speaking of which, the Downtown Digital Dollar Project is actually going to be the first layer 2 on this layer 1 blockchain, which kind of puts some kind of real credence to the idea of a stable coin, which I hate stable coins, just for the record. But this model that Bobby's is promoting and producing is a lot better than the old one. At least we're going to collect real dollars, have real receipts, be able to prove that these stable coins are backed by real dollars and that they're somewhere. They're in a bank, they're held somewhere. And if they're generating interest, it's for the benefit of the community, not for some other rich banker again, right? And so there's something amazing about this Downtown Digital Dollar program. And I know it's getting close. I still have hopes that it comes through this summer. And if it does and it becomes a huge success, wow, do we unbuckle from where we are? We're not even the realm of where we're going. We're not even at the tail end of that, So that could get very, very exciting. And that's something that got me excited too, that there's a plan. I just wanted to add that.
Yeah, absolutely. I pulled some so on that note, and that, believe it or not, the website exists already. It's downtowndigitaldollars.com. I heard Bobby talk about it once, and you can actually look at that website. And there's not much on there yet, but it kind of breaks it down, and you'll get the bigger picture of what you have your hands on by being a miner, and owning a mine with Texit, and getting those rewards, the potential down the road value of those things. Terry, this is they've got now there when they bring in these mining nodes or the units. They're coming in like big containers now, right? Like they're getting bigger units, and we're rapidly growing this thing, correct?
Yeah, 100%. Well, and that's the thing. Things like these shipping containers become stationary on the ground things. Because what Bobby's buying, like the BC40, I believe it's called, is just this massive shipping container, but it's outfitted already with all the cooling technology, everything it needs. I just have to put the power lines and get the power lines from the road, to that unit, and then it's got all the racks, right? It's all racked inside, and then you grab these L9 miners and you just start filling in the racks, and they fit, I think it's somewhere in the neighborhood of 200 of these L9s that are in there, and now you've got yourself a bona fide, strong contingent. So if something happens at the main location, you've got massive electronic horsepower sitting somewhere else, and they're often housed in these kinds of containers.
Which gives you a little security too, because if something had to be mobile, quick, moved, different location and stuff, they can transport a lot of these if need be, which is kind of cool. So Terry, I want to talk about what Texit is doing now. Okay, so we kind of went through a little nerd stuff right there. For those of you who like that detail, that's cool. Let's talk about the brand of Texit becoming more and more mainstream and what they're doing on here. Okay. So what is the significance? Because there's people now that are getting their cars wrapped in Texit Coin stuff. And this was from the Dallas Fort Worth airport. And you probably can't see it, but if you look in the background of that main Texit symbol, it's gate after gate after gate after gate has Texit running on it. And he shows, Bobby's actually shown the receipts for what they're putting in those. They're doing signage on roads for Texit Coin. That McLaren is sick. And it's got the Get TXC on there. They had an event, I think, at the Texas Motor Speedway just this past weekend, where they were pace carring it with Texit and stuff like that. That's the end of my slides right there, Terry. But I mean, where are we at right now, timing wise, with the fact that the word is just now starting, it's just coming out, and the token, like you and I, when we joined, when the coin was, I think, 47 cents. It's hovering like right now about $1.70, which is insane. And that is probably just the tip of the iceberg. Obviously, again, not financial advice, no predictions of income or returns. I'm definitely not saying that. What do you see with everything you're seeing now? What's the likelihood, hypothetically speaking, of course, that we hit that, that road to $16? It's kind of thing that's been conditioned in people's heads. I got a video out there called The Path to 16. A lot of you guys have seen it, or you're using it to introduce people to it, tells the story. But that might be just a speed bump on the way to, because I showed you, if you were paying attention, I showed you where Ethereum was. If you look at where Litecoin is, if you go to CoinMarketCap and you look at like Litecoin, Polkadot, those price points on some of those things, where are we in time right now, Terry, with Texit and what they're doing?
Well, we're at a really interesting time. It's like there's a brush fire that's really blazing, and I can see where it starts to spread and maybe takes on like a real big life of its own. I don't like to use fire necessarily as a metaphor because it's quite destructive, but that idea when it catches something and there's a little gust of wind that comes from somewhere that you don't expect and it catches on to enough dry brush, man, can it go some places. The Austin airport's taken over. Houston's being taken over. The Houston airport goes live on the 24th. What date are we today anyway?
23rd.
Tomorrow. Houston airport goes live tomorrow. Phoenix is already lit up. There's some billboards in certain parts of Florida. There's Phoenix just got lit up. There's some in Baton Rouge. There's some in Colorado. There's some in LA. Like, it's a major takeover. But I care most right now about Texas because I think that's the proving grounds, right? Like if the summer ends and there isn't a single person in Texas who doesn't know what Texit Coin is, then you've got the mental seeds already planted to create a currency. It's not a hard conversation to say, do you accept Texit Coin? And the coffee shop says, no, I don't. Okay, I'm only going to local businesses that now accept it. Ooh, that's a sting, right? But I can see that happening, right? And I've been famously, whatever, saying how I would love to see a partnership with Buc-ee's, right? And then that may or may never happen, but if it ever does, right? And now all of a sudden you've got them accepting Texit Coin, co-branding, putting Texit Coin ATMs in the machine and accepting it at the pump. That would change literally everything. This idea of $16 is not even on the map. The next time we pull up a chart 12 months from now, you're not even going to see $16. It'll look like a blip at the bottom of the radar if some of these things happen. If some of the family offices, in Texas start to say, you know what, I got my money in that dirty fiat chart that Mike's talking about, and I got this thing climbing up the side of the mountain. Maybe it's time to go park a little bit of money. Maybe you get some old school, big crypto, Bitcoin type guys. I'm just going to go park one Bitcoin over there and see what happens. There's a lot of those variables that in my mind is just how I hallucinate it could happen. Not financial advice, not legal advice, certainly not a prediction or a guarantee, but I start to see these inflection points, these tipping points, right? These, radio stations, more and more businesses start accepting it. More and more people in Texas are boycotting the local businesses that don't accept it. Then if the downtown digital dollar project starts to work, well, there's a lot of tipping points that can really flare off. We get the Ron Paul event coming up. There's another event in Oklahoma coming up. There's just a lot. There's a lot of stuff on the horizon. More billboards, more marketing, a lot of stuff that could happen, right? So I tell people that I suppose in anything there could always be something catastrophic that we can't predict, that we can't control, that could literally happen to, well, just about anybody or anything in this world. However, when you look at all the variables that can be controlled, there's like so much baked into the cake of where we could go. Like 16 is just a talking point, because 16 is where we, the mining community, can step it on a ladder up to. But the moment it takes on a life of its own outside of the mining community stair-stepping it, there is no ceiling, right? There is no ceiling. And Bobby's making a few moves right now that will probably land us on another major exchange. There's a few moves being made. They'll probably get us properly indexed on Coin Market Cap, which would have us, a top 500 project. And probably not too long down the road before we start climbing into the top 200 and then eventually break the top 100. And then, sky's the limit, as they say, from that point on, if we can achieve doing that. So I'll stop there, Mike. I know you got some other things you want to talk about, but hopefully it gives some people some ideas of what could, kind of pop off around this momentum.
Yeah. So here's why Terry and I do these things. Is I believe that we have the right intention to share good things with people. Like that's what we try to do, and get people educated on what's in front of them. And, we don't need anybody, like I don't need anybody to call me up and say, whatever, jump in with Texit with me or anything like that. But what we're showing you guys right now is really simply this, is that we have a project in a space that's getting more attention now than it's ever gotten ever. Like it's all over the news. The bills are being signed, regardless of how you perceive who's running things, right? But the fact that the crypto space is becoming more mainstream, I know I had a video I was going to show you guys. I mean, there's now banks that are allowing people to use crypto as collateral for loans to get their houses. Like this is becoming more and more mainstream. So people are going to be jockeying for position, I believe, because Bobby's been in the space long enough too. He understands what the pros and the cons are. He's been able to put stuff together. And here's the thing, is how do you participate? Like that should be the question that everybody should have on their mind. There's a couple ways to participate. One, you can go on like DexTrade, and what's the other exchange, and buy the I can't remember the other one that you could buy it on.
Well, I only recommend DexTrade.
DexTrade. Okay, so anyhow, DexTrade, we're going to leave it at that. Is the only one that's the only one you should use. It's available somewhere else. You can also go online now, and you can buy it with through Texit. They have that offering now as well. But most of us that have taken a look at this are setting ourselves up financially, which is to the point of the whole title of this thing, setting ourselves up for future finances by being or owning the mining software licenses, the nodes themselves. And we don't have to house anything or anything like that. You literally, they have it all tracked for you. You get a cold storage wallet sent to you in a whole 9 yards that are paying daily rewards in the form of this token / coin every single day. So the objective here is to get as many of these miners as you can. And I did a video called how could $9,000 retire you, based on a video that this guy did, Terry did, that he'd explained it. He put it in a Telegram group, and I was like, that's amazing. So I took it, gave it to AI. I said, write me the script for this and make me the PowerPoint to go with it. And I just kind of broke it down so it had visuals to go with it. But Terry's responsible for that content and that idea, because when I heard him say it, I watched it 3 times and I'm like, holy crap. If I had just a few more miners, I literally can do what I want, when I want, every single day, because I'm not going to overspend. Like, I'm not one of those guys that, goes out lavishly and burns cash or anything like that. I live pretty modestly. And if people do that, Terry, this to me was the most, it has been the most exciting revelation of understanding that we can buy up to 9 ourselves. We can buy up to 9. There's other incentives the company has out there that you can earn more. But just the fact that you could buy 9, the average miner right now, as is today, is averaging about $5 a day in passive income. Who else out there, Terry, expert financial people, are talking about digital assets or cash for producing assets? What say you, Terry Tiller?
Well, you and I have been talking about this for years. Like Robert Kiyosaki had a big impact on both our lives, right? And, I like the way Grant Cardone just summed it up great. He's like, well, there's a lot of great books out there. He said, but if I had to sum it up in one sentence, money's simple. You buy cash flow producing assets. I look at the real estate market right now. I've been warning everyone in the areas that I live, saying, hey, this market's way overheated. Like, we are totally coming for a major downturn, and we're living in the downturn, and the bottom is not in, and it could turn into like 2008 style stuff. But also, I saw this great little meme video that was done. It's great. We should have ran it today. It's a guy who was talking about Bitcoin or rental real estate. And the guy's like, I'm going to take rental real estate. I like real things. Bet Bitcoins, whatever. And then you got him talking about how he can't get his money, can't collect from the tenants, couldn't evict them for 3 months, had all these repairs to do, got all these repair bills. And in the meantime, Bitcoin just like smoked it out of the water. I had another screenshot that next time we run, remind me, I got one too that showed what would happen if you had bought gold versus Bitcoin over the last, 5, 7, 8, 10, 12 years and so on. It's astounding. God, it's astounding. But you take those ideas in your head and you realize, well, you want to get in front of a mega trend, not in a downtrend. I mean, that's for starters. You want to go into things that are going up, not things that are going down. And cash flow producing assets. So where would you put your money? Does gold cash flow? No. Does Bitcoin cash flow? No. Doesn't make Bitcoin bad, but it doesn't cash flow. Rental real estate. I mean, I grew up around a lot of that. I saw a lot of the problems. I'm not saying it's all bad, but I saw a lot of the problems, and I don't want to be doing it for me personally. Fixing toilets, getting calls at midnight, brand new tenant kicks in your brand new door. No thanks for me. So there aren't that many places. I'm not saying this is the only place, but it sure is a great place. We've seen blogs, and they're just based on market cap, right? So what we're saying is that based on certain market caps that we could hit, and those ideas are around displacing cryptocurrency projects that are similar but less functional, have smaller community, less marketing, less good benefits and features that we could displace near the top. And if we did displace them near the top, and even if the entire mine was sold out, and even if you were only getting fractions of a coin per day, those fractions could, under not financial advice, not a guarantee, hear that loud and clear, could, even at those numbers, even at fractions of a coin a day, could still get up to $20, $25 a day per mining unit. Right. And so we talked about that. Now there's a promotion on, you buy 9, you get 2 free, you have 11. Well, 11 times, let's just use $20 for round math. Anyone want to do the math on that's better? It's more impactful if you do it on your calculator than Mike and I running it on the screen. How much cash flow?
$22.
Let's just use 11 mining units, and let's just use $20 because they're nice round numbers.
Okay, 11.
And it's conservative from
11 times 20. $220 a day.
Anyone here think their lives would be a little bit better at $220 a day coming in? Every morning when you wake up, you have more money in the account than when you went to bed. I've heard a lot of people try and argue with me. I'm just going to buy the tokens. I'm going to outsmart this mining outfit. A, you've missed the whole point of the crowdfunding exercise. And B, you're wrong. You're holding onto a diminishing asset. That means every single time you got to touch it, it's diminishing. Versus the guy who's mining wakes up every morning, this morning is an account that he went to bed. Yep. It's perpetual residual, and the value continues to increase on top of that. I mean, that's a way better deal. And I'll explain mining properly for anyone who's a little concerned, right? But yeah, so what is that 220 times 365, Mike? How many people are currently working a job doing better than that? Not too many.
That's $80,000 a year.
So I would argue there are definitely some people on here making more than that, but you know, in terms of law of averages, you know, I don't know how, Steve. I just went through that whole idea about the 5 versus the 22 very clearly. I'm not sure how you missed that, but hit the rewind button when the record button comes out. I literally just went over that. We're saying it's 5 today, but there's lots of reasons how it could get to that in the future, even at fractions of a coin that the mine produces.
Correct.
So, you know, what is mining? People say, like, what is mining? I think a lot of people hesitate. Why am I investing in a mine? I don't even know what the hell mining is. A lot of people say that. I say it this way, right? Think of it this way. Right now, have you ever taken a credit card out, right, Mike? You take a credit card out and you put it on the little machine, all right, and the thing spins. It spins, It spins. While it's spinning, it's sending out a signal out to the bank, and it's saying, hey, Visa, does this guy in the city we think he's in, does he have any money in his account? Do we have any money in our account? Do we want to let him give it? Was he recently put on a terrorist watch list? You know, whatever. And it sends a signal back, and all of a sudden the green check mark on the screen shows up, right? That green check mark on the screen pops up. Well, that green check mark on the screen is called validating a transaction. On a proof of work blockchain, for ease of understanding, that's called mining. On a proof of stake blockchain, that's called running a validator. They're still both validating transactions. That's essentially what they do. Everything else is technical nerd stuff that you don't need to understand. And you get paid a block reward the same way Visa and MasterCard gets a reward for validating the transactions. In the legacy financial system, those crooks had a monopoly on it. In crypto, you and I get to validate transactions. We can own a piece of the infrastructure. Now, when Binance came on, the Binance validators make more money than God every single month. The numbers are so obscene, your mind could not handle it. And I don't know about you and I, but I never got an invite to play in that sandbox. But we have a chance to play in this sandbox, and I wish I mined Bitcoin in the early days. Everyone knows the early miners crushed it if they just held on. I mean, they did obscenely well. In a community-run project, you and I get a chance to be Visa and MasterCard, to own a bit of that infrastructure. That's what mining is. When you ever drove it across a toll booth, right? I still remember Kiyosaki using metaphors similar to like the toll booth guy, but there's a bridge near here I drive by, right? This is big old toll booth, and I just see thousands of cars going through it a day. I'm like, I need to be that guy. I want to be that guy. Yep. If I can figure out how to be that guy, dollar, quarter, they come into my pocket. That's a great deal. That's owning the infrastructure of the future. That's adhering to the mega trends of the future. That's not looking in the rear view mirror. That's looking into the future of where we're going. I want to own that infrastructure. And that's what we do, right? And so when people say, well, it only mines 5 days, you know, to Steve's point, and I wasn't trying to be harsh. I'm just saying I just literally went over that. So, so I didn't want you to think that I was being hyperbole and making it 22 in my mind. And when the reality is that it's 5, is that if 5's not enough for you or 11's not enough for you, figure out the number that is. What if it only ever stays at 5 and it never gets to 22? Okay, then figure out how many of those miners that you need to get to the number that makes good sense for you. And that's different for everybody. If you live in Nicaragua right now, 11 miners is going to set you free, guaranteed, right? And if you live in Armenia, the same thing's true, but it may not be true if you live in Orange County. Okay? So you got to figure out what that number is for you. And maybe it gets to 20 and then you just celebrate the extra windfall. But what if it only stays at 5? You could still craft a plan around that model, right? And that's kind of my argument, is that you can make a plan around that model. You know, Bobby was just talking on the call. I think was it yesterday? Tuesday's call? Yeah,
yesterday.
How it's looking pretty good, be a new program where they're going to loosen up the rails on only getting 9. And there might be a program, and don't quote me, I do not want to be quoted on this, that looks like you buy 27 and you get 6 for free. So take the math out again, Mike, and say, okay, do you have 33 units? What if you had 33 units? And what if we never get past $5? Does that satisfy the number for most people on a continually appreciating asset, generally speaking?
$165 a day times 30 days. That's basically $5,000 a month would be coming in.
And what if we pop to just $10 and not 20 that we in the example we used earlier? Now we're at 3 something, right? 330.
Yep.
You get 330 times 365 on what tends to be, for anyone listening, tends to be, it's not me guaranteeing, tends to be an upward appreciating asset in value. And by the way, you don't have to spend 100% of what comes in. You can keep it and allow it to appreciate for the long term. See, most people are thinking too small. They're looking for the little pop. I bought 1,000 coins and it's awesome. It's going up. I'm going to get 16 grand. That is exciting. I mean, it's wonderful. It's 15 more than you had before. But talk about thinking way too small and missing the boat. Had you been mining all those times and bought the goose that lays the golden eggs instead and thought a little bit bigger about what mining could do for you long term and how it could equal freedom for you instead of just like an extra 15K is nice, but there ain't too many used cars you can buy for 15K today. Yep. So where did it get you where you thought you outsmarted the system and bypassed the mining? I mean, I don't get it.
And I did this math. I'm going to do it right now live on my phone here just so I can explain it properly. Is when we joined 90 days ago, since there's a finite amount of, a designated amount of tokens that are distributed every single day, spread out equally upon around all the miners. When I joined 90 days ago, I believe that we got like nine tokens a day, right? 9. And the price though was 0.45 cents or 47. So I was making, if it was at that day's value, $4, right? Which wasn't too bad. But right now I'm averaging like, what is it? Like 3 or 2.5? Let's say 2.5
daily. Let's call it, 3, 2.5, whatever.
2.5 times $1.75. That's $4.30. $4.37. I'm at the exact same amount. So what's happening is even though maybe the token price has gone down a little, or I'm sorry, the mining amount has gone down a little bit, the token price is pushing the price up. Like as you're going to see this happen probably in the next week or so. This thing's going to pop over $2. Like not a guarantee, but based on looking at how everything's gone so far, you see those booms, and nobody's getting rid of their tokens because why would you cash out your tokens right now when you just watched 90 days ago? You had a load of tokens that came in for 45 cents and now they're $1.75. And next couple weeks from now, they might be $2 a piece. Where could they potentially go? That's what people are a lot of times are not grabbing is the growth of the token, the quote unquote utility of it, where it's going, and so on. And people need to understand that the place to be is cash flowing assets that you don't have to think about. Like I literally, if I don't want to do anything at this point, if it doesn't increase, if the price of that token stays exactly the same, the amount of nodes, the licenses that I got together, I wouldn't have to do another thing. I could sit at my pool all day, which I do anyhow, without thinking anything about it. I'd never talk to anybody. Could just disappear if I wanted to. And the 90-day period was able to set that up. And there's a lot of other people that have done the same thing or are on the verge of doing the same thing. And I think that we're just touching the tip of the iceberg. What were we going to ask, Terry?
Did you say you just set yourself up for perpetual beach money in only 90 days? Is there a lot of places you could do that?
No, it's kind of comical. Like I'm embarrassed to tell people sometimes, because they're asked, well, how's it going? How's that crypto thing going you do? Like that. I'm like, I don't know if you really want to know because you're going to go to work from 8 in the morning to probably 6 o'clock at night. And you're going to make less than I'm making right now. Yeah. And I'm sorry. I don't know what to say. I'm not going to apologize because it's taken an education to get to this point, and that's what's available. Mike Woods just asked this question. I'm going to pull it up because it's a good question. Is there a limit to the number of miners that are available? There is not for you personally. You can only purchase up to 9, but like Terry said, there might be something coming out that he's going to open it up to you and get bigger, which there's a reason that they're not letting people come in and buy $200,000 worth of miners, because we don't want the whale issue coming aboard. We don't want somebody coming in with $1 million, buying $1 million of the miners, collecting all the tokens, watch the price go up and then crash the thing because they have the control. That's what's been nice, is that it's not pre-mined tokens and it's spread out, and there's safety in that. There's safety in the fact that the token can stay stable due to the fact that there's so many people that have, we don't need 5 people in this project to be multi-billionaires. We need thousands of people to be 100,000aires or millionaires. I mean, that's really that's what people can sincerely set them up for if they try. Not financial advice, not making predictions of income. But go ahead, Terry.
One thing you haven't, you did with me in the first 30 days, we had talked about it, but for a lot of people who haven't heard it, and we haven't done it in a while. But it's a great look back exercise, right? Because people have got to stop counting how many tokens you're getting today. You've got to look at the future value. It's all about the future value. And if you're only counting the tokens versus counting the asset, the golden goose, if you're not counting the goose and you're only counting the token, you're missing a dramatic element of the whole thing and thinking too small. But Mike, let's go back now. Let's discount it. You said 9 tokens. Let's call it 8 because you had some diminishing amount over the 30-day period. So let's call it. Let's say you did the 9, you got 11. Let's say you had 11 mining units in the first time you started, and you were making 8 tokens a day. Pop that in for us and multiply that by 30 days.
So that's 88 tokens a day times 30 days.
Yeah,
is 2,640 tokens.
Okay. Now let's just take the $16 price, even though we know that is not the ceiling or the final destination. That's kind of like the starting block. But let's just take the $16 price point and tell me what value did you actually mine, the USD value in your first month?
42,240.
Mike, you reckon that 9K was worthwhile?
Starting to ring a bell. That's what people don't understand. Is nobody's taking the time to grab a calculator. Go to Chat GPT if you don't want to use your own calculator and say, hey, if I mine this and I got this coming in and it goes to this, I got this, it'll keep you up at night. Like that's why we're doing these things, is we're trying to help people not get left behind. Like I don't want my friends and family, if you're watching this, to be upset at me because I didn't tell you, because I did. So I'm off the hook. Period. If you want to kick and scream, that's fine. I mean, I had a guy ask me yesterday. I played racquetball with a bunch of times, and I've known him for a few months, and he asked me what I did, and I told him a few projects in crypto, and he was like, he's probably about 10 years older than me. He's like, oh, I definitely don't want to do any of that crypto stuff. I just don't get it. And I'm like, well, it's not that hard. I mean, this is where everything's going. You know, you got to be ready for it. Oh, I don't even think I want to invest in gold and stuff like that. And I quickly changed the subject back to racquetball. and it just cracks me up because people don't take the time to educate themselves on something that is changing the world. Digital currencies, cryptocurrency is changing. It already has. It's the genie's out of the bottle. It's never going back in.
Never.
Like it or not, kicking or screaming. This is the same conversation people had to have with people, I guarantee it, when the internet came out. That they said there's no way the internet thing is going to work. There's no way that this is going to happen. You know, who wants to get on that? And here we are, right? Everything you ever
have one of these.
Right. No one's going to want one of these. Who would want one of these, right? It's like you have more computing power in your phone right now than you did on the supercomputers in the 70s. Like, not even close. Like the same, there's more computing power, believe it or not, from what they say, in all of what NASA was using to do their moon landing along the thingy, right? But anyhow, that's another, we'll get on another tangent on that one.
Yeah.
But that's what people need to understand. If you are not doing everything in your power to get as many miners as you can right now, you will kick yourself in 6 months because you cannot go back in time. Like every day, even though it might be not something I want to do every day, I'm trying to reach out to people because I don't want them mad at me down the road. I want them to know that, hey, there's a project that's working. You don't want to miss out on this. Did you miss out Bitcoin? Yeah, I wish I could have got in there. Okay, here's your second chance potentially. And if they pass it, they pass it. But that's what we're doing. Terry, I know we're coming up almost at the top of the hour. This one went by pretty fast. Give me a few closing comments, and then we'll jump off of here.
You know, I'm talking to guys who are thinking big, and it's great because they also plant some seeds in my mind. You know, you can't always be the biggest thinker in the room. It's good to be around other guys who are catching a vision, you know, and you see business owners who start to realize they get their hands on an asset. And while you cannot control the future, there's a good chance this is going to see its way through to the end. I mean, given where we are today, seeing the future is not hard for me. And I also think that we're going to come into an inflection point soon where you're going to start to get FOMO, where the window you might have. We talked about a thing recently. I brought it up to you, Mike. I'm starting this thing called Club 100. Like, why not? Why not have that as a goal for some people? Because I know some guys who are already past that point. I'm like, man, there's guys who are past the point. That's good thinking. You know, why are we limiting ourselves to how many we want to hold? But whatever that number is for you, that's different for everybody. But however you plan to get there and whatever it takes for you to get there, you're going to see that window of time shrinking because there's a finite amount of miners and that door is going to close on you. And, you know, we just did over 2 million last week. You're going to see weeks where it's 2 million, 2 million, 2 million, 3, 4, 5 million, 10 million a week. And you're going to see the FOMO of like, oh my God, I've only got X number of months left to pick up enough miners for myself. And that window is going to close permanently. And I'm going to have a lot of FOMO and a lot of regret that I didn't grab more. Now, you may not feel that way, but I think you're going to. Because I know some people are already starting to feel that way. And they're saying, well, right now I can only acquire one extra a month. And I'd really like to I don't have much time to get there, do I? No, not so much. So you've got to figure out what your plan is and what your goals are. And I'm not telling you what those should be. But if you start plotting yourself about how you can get yourself up to those bigger numbers, whatever number that is for you, let's just call it the freedom number, right? And there's always going to be variables that we can't control, but you could just plot yourself to where you want to roughly get to and start to think about like, what's that going to look like for you? But you're going to see as this thing speeds up, almost everything in nature, when it hits around this 10,000 mark, starts to pick up some serious momentum. And if every one of those 10,000 miners just told 2 people, and half of them said no, we'll be at 20,000 quick. And once you're at 20,000, if they tell 2 people and half of them say no, we're still at 40,000 quick. That door closes a lot quicker than you think. But that's kind of what just the seeds I want to plant today. It's kind of just where my personal head is at. You don't have to feel the same way. We're here to do some context. I'm hounding Mike. We got to do content more often, but we'll be coming at you with more stuff. And I've got some other great stuff I want to show you that we just didn't get organized enough for today, but that's all right. That just means next time I'm going to show you some cool stuff. So that's my closing thoughts for today. Mikey, what do you got left?
Perfect. I'm kind of to reiterate what you just said about the window closing is you have to understand that the law of large numbers is about to take over. Like what's about to happen that we celebrated the 10,000th miner joining, right? Well, right now there's a couple hundred miners per day are being purchased. And like Terry said, that what happens is that the exponential growth of that, because there's people hearing about it from other people. People are talking to it. There's more videos by other people, not just us, being put out there. That exponential number is going to get larger and larger and faster, which is taking that window and going like this. I mean, if you could have taken and upgraded and gone from 3 miners to 9, you know, the difference that it could make to somebody financially, again, not predicting, is staggering. What somebody will, if they look back on it, the fear of loss, the regret. That's the word I was looking for. You don't want to live with the regret of what you could have done today to set yourself up for the future. And that's where we are in this point in time, because the amount of time it took to get to 10,000 miners is going to be probably less than half of that to get to 20,000, and less than half of that to get to 40, and then boom, windows close, no more miners available for people. But you know, if you did what you were supposed to and you gave it your best, you're setting yourself up. So anyhow, thank you so much, Terry Tillert, for on here. High five. Can you high five me? Other way. There you go. Sorry, that was kind of dumb and dorky, but whatever. But hey, appreciate everybody jumping on here. The replay of this is automatic on the same link. You're welcome to watch it again if you missed the beginning parts of it. Highly recommend you watch that. Also, I will download it, upload it on my YouTube channel. You're welcome to go check out some of the videos I got on my YouTube channel, Mike Healy, and you'll see that video. A lot of people are watching it, obviously, that 9,000, what 9K can do for you. So, Terry Tillert, thank you so much, buddy. I appreciate you being on here. Everybody, thanks, guys, for the kind words. Everybody have a great one, and we'll see you on the next live. Right, Terry?
Perfect. Sounds good, guys. Have a good one. Talk to you soon.
All right. See you guys.
Later.